Yeah, I'm really excited to be briefly talking about Nevermind's journey here at Games for Change because this very festival has been such a large part of where we are today. I will just move it over here. The reason why I wanted to share this presentation is less to talk about Nevermind, although I'll be doing plenty of that, of course, and more to show that although it may feel daunting, taking a small academic or indie project that you think can change the world and turning it into a commercial success is, in fact, possible. So with that, this will be a super speed run through the path we took, the challenges we ran into, the solutions we found, and some tips and tricks that I'd recommend. So given that I'm going to compress 4 years of work into 10 minutes, I can't get into too much depth about any one point, but please feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you want to discuss anything further. So on that note, let's get off this awesome slide and go to the next one. And this slide has my contact info, but you'll get it again at the end, so don't sweat it. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm Erin Reynolds, and I'm the Chief Mollusk at Flying Mollusk, and we're working on a game called Nevermind. Nevermind is a biofeedback. Okay. Sure. Oh, here we go. Yeah, and I don't necessarily need audio or anything fancy like that, so. I'll keep talking about Nevermind. Nevermind is a biofeedback-enhanced adventure horror game that detects fear and stress in the player. What? Okay, sorry about that. Hey, there's my notes. Well, yeah.
Maybe that play.
All right.
Yeah, we got it, right?
Cool. All right, we're going to do this without notes, so that's going to be interesting. Okay, so it's a biofeedback enhanced adventure horror game that detects fear and stress in the player. If you play it using one of the sensors we support, it'll actually get more difficult the more scared you get with environmental changes that impact how you play. So here are two examples. It's a little hard to see on the projection, but in this top one, when you're calm, the screen is totally clear. And when you get stressed, it gets a little bit staticky. There's some like visual noise on there. In other places, it's even more intense than that. So you'll be in a room, for example, and if you get scared or stressed, it'll start to flood with milk. Let's talk a little bit about the history of how we got there. And I'm going to show this video that shows the, can I adjust volume on this? No, I can't. Okay. This is a video that shows the evolution of Nevermind from the early academic proof of concept to where we are today, courtesy of Urban Gaming Elite. Thank you for letting us borrow this, Urban Gaming Elite. So it started as my MFA thesis project at the University of Southern California in the Interactive Media and Games Division of the Cinema School. Is also part of the Advanced Games Project, which is a class that's sort of a capstone course for both cinema majors and computer science majors in the USC Games program. And with that class, you get a small team of student developers together, and you have a whole year to work on a concept. And so with this group of developers across the university, advisors throughout the university, we built this proof of concept that was a one-level demonstration of basically the game working as intended with the biofeedback, responding to your fear and stress in this narrative context that we designed, where you're in the subconscious mind of psychological trauma victims. We spent this year, we got to a point where we were successful, we were pumped about it, and then we all graduated and scattered to the wind. I had actually taken a job with Zynga earlier that year, or accepted a position, and then went to work there. Zynga was somewhere that I was really excited about working with. They have Zing.org there, and I am a big fan of course, Games for Social Impact, so I really enjoyed working with that group and learning from them. But during the year I was at Zynga, we were submitting Nevermind to festivals, and we were really amazed and flattered by sort of the attention it started to get from the press, from the game industry, from gamers. People really seemed interested in this concept. And we had this one really big turning point. There we go, that arrow was bothering me. It still is. All right, I'm gonna ignore it. That we had this one really big turning point in the spring of 2013 where two things happened. One, we were invited to present at a conference called ESCONS, where it's a group where it brings together game designers and neuroscientists together to talk about making games for all sorts of different causes. And it was really the first time that we met a bunch of people who were as interested in kind of games that use your biometrics and work with you to kind of improve either the individual player or society as a whole. So that was really inspiring and motivating. And then shortly thereafter, we found out we were nominated as a finalist in the Games for Change awards, and we were so honored and thrilled. It was very validating because it went to show that this crazy idea that we had may actually have a place in the world. So we went and at Games for Change again, like I met so many like-minded people who are as enthusiastic and geeked out as much as I do about social impact games. So shortly after that, I decided that I had to move forward with this. You know, this is really where my heart was, and it seemed like there were others out there who were interested in these crazy experimentations. And so I left Zynga shortly thereafter and started Flying Mollusk to focus on Nevermind full time. So this is sort of what the journey looked like, but we know it's not as simple as that, because there's a lot of things that go into taking a game that's from an idea to commercial success. So let's break it down a little bit. Funding. So I think probably one of the biggest issues that a lot of small indie or academic games face when going into the commercial world is getting funded. So we actually, some people know us from our Kickstarter campaigns that we had last year, but what a lot of people don't know is we actually had 4 crowdfunding campaigns. We started with an Indiegogo one just to support the student development, because those sensors were not cheap, and on a student budget we had to buy those sensors, and so the contributions from friends and families really helped make that final student academic project possible. Then later on, as we were submitting to festivals and competitions, we had to run another Indiegogo campaign to support actually purchasing and sending all these sensors to various committees. And that was very helpful because, you pay a lot out of pocket, but at a certain point, as I'm sure you all know, you need a little extra help, and so that was great. And then when we went to start Flying Mollusk full-time, the commercial version of it, like many indie studios, we started a Kickstarter to help support it. And like many indie Kickstarters, we failed to meet our full funding. But out of that, Intel found us and discovered us and approached us and said, would you like to develop for this upcoming RealSense 3D camera technology we're making? And it was an amazing match, because not only did that help fund taking Nevermind to the next level and redeveloping the student prototype to a full commercial one, it also gave us access to this amazing sensor tech that would be able to get the heart rate data from the player without any wearables. Because up until then, we were using a Garmin cardio chest strap, which is a great sensor, but it requires the player to put it under their shirt with some goo, and that's cool and all, but it's sort of a tough sell for some players. So that was fantastic. And then inspired, I forgot to mention, and this will actually make more sense with this next unit of slides, you'll see Games for Change is on there twice, because also shortly after the failed Kickstarter, we were invited to come back to Games for Change and participate in the pitch event. And I highly recommend that you all attend that later today. It's a lot of fun. And we actually won it, which was amazingly thrilling. And really the most important thing we got out of it was being able to get a lot of really great feedback and advice from a number of people from a diverse array across nonprofit and commercial industry, just a bunch of really great insight. And so with that insight and kind of motivation, we started full development in June 2014, and we returned to Kickstarter in October to bring it to other platforms, because originally we were planning to just bring it to PC, but then the Kickstarter was funded, thanks in large part to a lot of people in this room. So we were able to bring it to Mac, Oculus, Xbox One, and also expand the number of sensors that we're going to support. So development ramped up in a really large way shortly after the Kickstarter, and 3 weeks ago, the dream came true, and we launched on Steam Early Access a beta version of Nevermind, and so now it's finally out in the world, which is really, really exciting, and so far being received very well by players and press. And then also, so again, like this makes it seem like, well, we kind of, had a A to B path that was fairly easy. But as you all know, it's rarely that easy. There was a lot of challenges along the way. First, as I'm sure you can imagine, there was a lot of challenge to get the tech working, just from a dev standpoint, kind of figuring out a way to get biofeedback in games. And we really solved that during the student prototype phase, but then we all graduated. And then, had to get the team back together, and then financial stability. I'm wrapping up quickly, but as you can imagine, I'm sure you can relate to a lot of these things. A lot of what's here may be specific to Nevermind surface level, but deep down, it's all about, working on an experimental game, something that's a little bit non-traditional, dealing with all the financial issues, team recruitment and training. It's all stuff that I think we can all kind of empathize with if you're an indie developer or academic developer working on a non-standard traditional game. So here are some tips, just really quickly, that helped us. Your community is your best friend. They can help you a ton. Do your funding homework, and if you don't know something, go out and reach out to people, which brings me to mentors and allies. There are so many amazing resources and people to talk to here. Please leverage them because it'll only make you stronger, and yeah, it's amazing. So again, there's all my contact info, finally. So if you have any questions or want to talk about anything further, please contact me. I'd love to talk more. Thank you.